On, guys, welcome back to another episode of the NJ Show. I hope everybody's doing very good. Happy Friday to everybody here, even though we haven't really got a lot of people today. It's weird. The numbers are down. Twitter as well was like that this morning too, where there's just I just don't seem to see anybody. Everybody seems to be sleeping in today or just quiet in general. Let me double check that we're live. We are live. That's very good, very good. All right, well, cool. For those of you who are here anyway, let's talk. Let's talk. Happy Friday to everybody. Hope everybody is doing good, and I hope everybody's keeping well. There's a lot to talk about today. I mean, Bitcoin. We finally had that crash, that pullback that we were looking for. But is it a pullback? Is it the end? Is it the Are we at key resistance right now? And have we sort of come off key resistance and we're looking to make new lows, or is this the pullback that we were looking for? It's very difficult to talk about. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to jump straight into it. Feel free to leave a comment in the chat if you guys want to talk or anything like that. I have no problems with that. But let me just bring up Bitcoin very quickly, and we'll start talking about Bitcoin because there are a few things to talk about in the sense of Bitcoin. Just bear with me. All right, cool. So in terms of Bitcoin, right, if we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, let's start from the very beginning. All right. For those of you who have been watching the show previously, you guys will see that we had this chart marked out. All right. Now, to me, I'm not seeing a break in market structure yet. I'm not seeing something that says, oh, I've got a short. I haven't seen something like this yet. All right. I haven't seen something like this. I haven't seen something like that yet. That can still happen. That can still happen very soon. And I've got to be really honest with you. I've not been in complete sync with this market. This market has been aggressive when you'd expect it to dump, and it's been very regressive when you'd expect it to pump. All right. Now it's the same in reverse. I know a lot of people are talking about the dollar and a lot of people are talking about the CME gaps. So we'll look into that as well in just a moment. But as it stands for Bitcoin, I mean, if we look into it from another view, to me, this is kind of we're at support. Yes, we've deviated a very key level. All right, we've deviated this level here. The range is perfect. We've got the range lows right here. We've got the we've got the range highs right here. The mid range comes in here. We've got a bit of chop here, like we want to see, and these are the highs here that the market couldn't break. All right, just on the left here, these are the highs here that the market couldn't break. You see, we couldn't get a close above it. We got one close above it, instant sell-off, retest, sell-off, accumulation. When we started pushing up, again, where did we find that resistance? We found that resistance right here. So for me, this is a pivot point. We're at that pivot right now. Okay? So it's for me, it's difficult to ascertain what's going to happen here. Are we going to get something like, now that we've touched that 21,500 level, are we going to get something where we round out maybe somewhere here and then show bullish pattern, and then maybe give us that break in market structure pattern and then do something like that? I don't know. At the moment, I don't know. It's very difficult to say. We're at a turning point for the market, so you have to place your bets, really and truly. For those people who are short, it's a little bit late to short now. If we were going to short, where does the weekly open come in? The weekly open comes in here. That's a good place, but that would probably be next week. So that's 23k. Where does the monthly come in? Monthly comes in at about 23k. All right, cool. So look, if we was to get a push up into 23k, so let me just make that a little bit clearer for you guys. If we was to get a push up, maybe this is 22,500, maybe something like this. Hold on, bear with. Maybe something, people think it's reclaiming the range, come a little bit higher, and then boom. That's maybe one possibility, one opportunity. But at the moment, the scenarios are the dust needs to settle. The dust has to settle because we're at support right now. You can't blindly buy support, but you can't blindly short here as well. If you do think that this whole thing here is going to be a deviation right here, if you think that's going to be the case, then fine, place your bets. But for me right now, I can't gauge exactly what positions to take. So I'm holding back. Another thing to look at, if we look at it like this, right? Look at the cryptocurrency market. You'll see here from the top of the page, we've got a lot of across the board, right? Look specifically here, 7 day, right? You've got 7.4% down on Bitcoin. You've got 6.6%, and obviously that filters across the market. But then you've got other altcoins, like for example, you've got other altcoins. I've seen some big ones today, man. Hold on. I've seen some pretty big ones today. We've got 17.5% up on Immutable X. I know GRT is rocketing. I know. Wait, is that it there? Yeah, there's GRT. Look, GRT is still up 60% for the week. So if this is the top, right? I don't know. If it's still 60% up for the week, is this a higher low or is this a pullback? Is it finished? Lily's saying dusk. Let's have a look at dusk real quick. Dusk isn't. No, that's not. There we go. Let's have a look at dusk real quick. Dusk is dusk. Where is dusk? 29% up. 29% up for the day. Now, as well, another one I've got to point out to you guys as well. I saw Sivo tweet about LRC today. So I had a look at LRC too. And what do we see on LRC? This is what gets me confused, right? You've got a very clean range here for LRC. This is on the daily as well. You've got your range lows right here. You've got your range highs here. We've broken into the range. We've retested the range low and pushing up. So it's a bit tricky for me. It really, really is a bit tricky for me because if we look at, so we've looked at Bitcoin real quick and we've said that we're at support, all right, or what we think support is anyway. All right, we could break it and we could go to lower prices. We'll talk about that in just a second. How low could Bitcoin go if 21,500 isn't that level that we're looking for to long the market? Then what level can we go to? Well, I know a lot of people have been talking about the Bitcoin futures, right? CME futures. And I've had a look at the CME futures, and this is what I'm seeing. All right. If I zoom in a little bit. All right. Without bringing too much into it, without making it too messy, we've got this low here that I've chosen. All right. Why did I choose this low here? Why have I chosen the bottom line here? The reason I've done that is because we had relentless sell-off. All right. We've had relentless sell-off. Now, this was the first level that we bounced off. All right. We sold off. This was the first level where we made 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, 5 touch. We broke below. And now that we've broken below, for some reason, this level here is the one that's bringing back price. It seems to be the mean. All right. You ever heard people say reversion to the mean? That's what this reminds me of. All right. It's a continuous reversion to the mean where this level here, it just keeps attracting price. The candles have to go near it. All right. So at the same time, we've got that BTC CME gap that we're looking at right here, which comes in at exactly about, hold on, let me give you the exact number. It comes in at exactly, well, let's call it 20K. All right. Let's call it $20,000. Now, you know, the only thing that concerns me here when I look at this gap is number one, we're already at support. All right. We're already at support, number one. So this was the down move that pushed the market up right here. Hold on. That's not very good. There we go. Just a tiny bit higher. There we go. All right. That's the down move that pushed the market up. And at the same time, right, if you think about it, we've got all these gaps above as well. Look at all these gaps that we've got above. We've got a gap above here at 28K. We've got another gap above here coming in at 35K. It's difficult to base my trade idea just off of a gap fill. Do you see what I mean? As it currently stands, there is premise here to go long. And at the same time, you know, even if we was to go lower, if we do believe that this here is the mean, then no problem. Mean comes in at around $18,700, $18,800. That's not really that far away from the 20K level if you think about it. Obviously, if you're trading on the lower time frame, like the 5-minute time frame, that's a very, very big move. But before trading on the lower time frame, you've got to get your macro in check first. You've got to make sure you know where price is going on the daily and on the weekly before you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to go on the 1-minute time frame and just pick a direction. You know, that's just my 2 pieces on it anyway. So look, I know that we tapped an important range high and we've reversed now. I get it, but we're approaching what I believe is the mid range. So I don't want to get too excited with shorts right now. I don't think shorting is a good idea right now. You might make money from it, but just from a risk to reward perspective, it's difficult, because where's your stop really going to be? Your stop's going to have to be up here, and that's not a very good short. You could put your stop here above this candle here, but then you'd be open to getting stopped out. Do you know what I'm saying? Because when you take a trade like this, you have to be acceptable to a swing fail of not your stop, but the soft stop. So here would be your soft stop here at 23,590. Here would be your hard stop here at 24,430. That's a very, very big stop loss. How wide do you want it to go? And then you'd have to be willing to accept a swing fail of this level here, which comes in at 23,500. So look, where it confuses me is where we look at the dollar. Now, bear in mind that I've shown you guys that there are altcoins that are booming, right? And yet, if we look at the dollar is starting to bounce. Now, there's two versions of the dollar that I want you guys to look at, all right? Two versions. The first version is the macro version, okay? This is the dollar on the monthly time frame, and this is what we put out for the dollar weeks and weeks ago, all right? We said that this is a 20-year range. I always bring it up. I'm singing like a broken record. We broke below resistance, broke below support, sorry. All right. Here was the support that I marked out, this high right here. I'll explain why that high is important later on in just a moment, actually. All right. We broke below it, and now we are pushing up. Okay. But we are still below it. We're still holding as resistance. However, on the lower time frame, the dollar does look all right. It does look good. When we look at it from here, channel to channel, all right, we're probably going to have a mid-range somewhere about, let me just push this out like this, and let's just, mid-range would look something like this, all right? This is not exact, but mid-range would look something like this, all right? Let me just move this out the way. Now, if the mid-range looks like this on the dollar, right, it's not, and again, it's not perfect. I'm just not happy with that. One sec. There we go. And there we go. All right. Now, usually I wouldn't make my chart look messy like this. I wouldn't do that. All right. But there's a reason why I'm doing it today. There's a reason why. Let me just change this, turn this into a dots or something like that. There we go. All right. Now, notice how we tap the range high. We've come into this resistance area. We've come back into what I'm calling the mid-range. All right. Now, let's look at the dollar again. Let me just zoom into this for you guys so you guys can see real quick. Notice how we're holding above the mid-range on a 20-year trend line channel. Okay. 20 years. Now let's move over to another chart of the dollar, and let's break the dollar down, but in a different way. All right. In a more basic way. So not the monthly. I'm going to go over to the daily time frame. Okay. Now, if we're looking at the dollar like this, what we need to do is, we know that price is always trapped in a range, right? If price is always trapped in a range, then we just need to find the range first. Once we've got the range, we can talk about everything else later. So for me, if I'm looking at the range, I'm going to be looking at the left side over here for confluence, right? Because we have to use previous price data in order to see where our range is going to be. So I'm going to take this high right here, okay, on the left, and I'm going to take this low here. That looks good to me. Now, it's not going to be perfect off the bat, but let's see what it looks like, okay? Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. What do you guys think about this range? You guys tell me, what do you think about this range? Do you think it's respectful? Excuse me. Do you think it's clean? Do you think that the levels are being respected? To me, it looks like the levels are being really respected. All right. You've got resistance here. All right. You've got resistance. Let me get the brush. You've got resistance here on the left. You've got support here on the left. You've got resistance here on the right. You've got resistance here on the right. Now we've broken above, and this is really bullish market structure. This is really bullish. You know that pattern that you look for, where you've got a level like this, price breaks that level, does its thing, and then we get back above and we do this area right here. Isn't that what we're doing here with the dollar right now? That's what it looks like to me. Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, I did talk about the dollar coming to the mid range. I did talk about the dollar coming back to this area here. But really and truly, I thought that this was going to be resistance. And it at the beginning, it did look like resistance. But now we're starting to turn. We're starting to turn now. And now it's starting to look like, well, hold on a second. NJ, if you took this as the range high right here on the left, and you took this as the range low, okay, then what do I want to see? I want to see a sweep of the range high, a sweep of the range low, a sweep of the range high, a sweep of the range low. For most of you guys who trade and girls, you guys will be looking for ranges because ranges are the best way to make money in these kind of markets. Usually you'd look for a trending market, right? But that only comes once every 2-3 years, all right? Where you get one fat movement to the upside or something like that. But in this particular instance, when we've got range bound environments, you'll see that people tend to focus a lot more on trading the range, trading level to level and stuff like that. So that's the conditions that we're in right now, where we've had 6 weeks of up only for the altcoins. And we're starting to now go back into a range bound environment. So look, over here, we've got the range high. Notice here what we did right here. We swiped the range high, closed back below, all right? And then we sold off into the range low. Now, the range low, this is the range low here, 101.0787. All right. Just it's not exactly perfect, but for sake of argument, 101. All right. Look what we did here. We swiped the range low. We've taken all the liquidity out here below the range low. And now we're going back in the range and we're holding the mid range. So for me, there's no reason why we shouldn't see dollar go back for the mid range, which comes in around 104s. Okay. Now, where it gets a bit sticky is, when the dollar starts pushing up like this, it kind of usually signals risk off in most markets. All right, like it will signal risk off usually in the S&P. And if the S&P is going to go lower, then what does that really mean for Bitcoin? Think about it for yourself. If the dollar's going up and Bitcoin's going, if the dollar's going up, the S&P is going lower, then most likely that's going to fall across to Bitcoin too. All right, now in regards to where I think the dollar is going to go, if we bring this into the hourly time frame, look, it's for me it's difficult. For me, I can tell you it's going to go right now. I can tell you it's going to start pushing up right now because it does look like it wants to start getting ready to push up right now. And obviously, where would the targets be? Well, you've got clear liquidity resting right here, right here, right here, and then you've got your range level right there. Okay, so it kind of looks like it could take all of this out in one pot. I'm not going to disagree with that. Okay, I'm not going to. Why is the liquidity at the top here important? Well, you've got the top of this up move that sent the market lower. Okay, and that kind of is the mid range of these two levels here as well. So honestly, if I could see the dollar doing anything, I think it would take out this high right here. Right here. Okay, so it's just one to be mindful of. It's very difficult to trade Bitcoin and the dollar right now. It looks clean. I know how clean it looks, but it's really difficult to trade these right now. And going into the weekend, I still think that altcoins may have some squeeze left. And I'll tell you why. So I was looking at this chart last night. And I got to a breaking point with this chart where I said, you know what? If this, then that. I can't give you a full-on idea of what's going to happen. All I've done here is I've looked for where price is trapped, right? Where is the range? Okay, found the range. Now that I've found the range, well, okay, we've broken out of the range. We've done all of this now. And now we've pushed back up into this range. And look, if we've got our range low, what have I put out for this range low? I've put out to say, look, if we take out this low, this will more than likely not be a reclaim of the range, but instead a bearish retest deviation of key resistance. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we look at the daily time frame, the weekly time frame, what I'm starting to see here from the weekly time frame is it looks like we're starting to get a turn. Now, it's really difficult at the moment. It's very, very difficult because we've come into this range. We've come back into this range. We've given the wicks that we were looking for, and we've tapped the mid-range cleanly. We've tapped the mid-range twice. So there are bullish arguments to make. Okay. But again, back to the beginning of the episode where I said, look, you have to just place your bets at the moment because it's very, very difficult to ascertain what this market is going to do. You've got to tell me now, is this a reclaim back into the range where we're going to push for the range high going at 420 billion? Or is this is this a turning point for us where, you know, crypto had been dumping for so long, just like we've got right here, where we sort of looked like we were breaking out of the range high. We broke back into the range. Over here, we retested the mid-range right here. Okay. We got that swing high, but then once we got that swing high, look how aggressive it was to the downside. And now I'm starting to get the impression that we're doing something similar here. But at the same time, when I see altcoins like, you know, the ZK narratives pushing today, Mina pushing, GRT pushing, LRC looks really good. LRC looks really good. You know, I think to myself, well, hang on a second. What if this is not actually a turning point? What if this is a reclaim of the range and we're probably looking to take out this previous swing high right here, okay, to get that liquidity buildup we need to go to lower prices? That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so at the moment it's difficult. We really need to wait for the next week to start unfolding before we get an idea of what this market is going to do. I did mention some altcoins. I mentioned stables. I did mention stables in the last episode, and I did say I would hold myself accountable. So if we go back to stables, um, this fell off. This fell off. I did say the tokenomics weren't very good, and this was at 30 cents or something like that yesterday. It was holding the range. I ended up cutting my position. I actually bought in the last stream that we did. I was like, you know what, this looks all right. So I put my USDT back in, and then it started breaking below, and I didn't like it, and I sold off, early enough because we're now at 18 cents. The other one that I brought up as well was Truebit. Now Truebit, I spoke about this to you guys, and I said, well, I'm buying some at the dip, and I bought it at around 14.5 15 cents. It was more 15 cents that I got in, right? And it hasn't done anything. It's still at 15 cents. I think we pushed to 18 at one point, and then we got back to 15. I'm not going to lie to you. Let me try and get the chart for you guys now. I'm not really feeling it, you know. I'm not really feeling it. Hold on. I'll explain why. So hopefully you guys can see this. Yeah, you guys can see this. So, you know, if we go to the daily real quick, liquidity looks all right. The volume still looks okay. Volume's dying off, but I don't know. It's starting to look like a bearish retest, man. It's starting to look ugly. Now, if I go to the 4 hour, let me show you the trend line that I'm looking for, right? Trend line that I'm looking for is this one here. There we go. And where was the breakout? Where did we break out? The breakout was here. Here was the breakout. Okay. So what I'm looking for right now, all I'm doing is I'm just marking out the origin of the breakout. Okay. I know it's very dark. I apologize. I'll zoom in just a second. Let me do this. There we go. All right. So I'll give this a bit more girth as well. Hold on. There we go. Now you guys can see properly. Okay. There we go. All right. That should be clear. So what I'm looking at for True is we've had this consolidation here. This is a very small consolidation compared to everything else we had before. This entire box here was the accumulation. All right. Now zooming in a little bit, what I looked at was, well, we've got the breakout here. We've rallied upwards now, and we got a retest of that breakout. You see the down move that pushed the market up right here. Now we've bounced off that. I don't really want to see us going lower. I need to see aggression. All right. So for me, this trend line here needs to hold. I need to start seeing some sort of aggressive buy-in, you know, like I need to see the buyers step in. I need to see something like that. And if that's not going to come, if we start breaking below and I see that it's starting to look bearish on like maybe the hourly or something like that, then I'm going to cut that position. It is what it is. All right. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. Sometimes I'm absolutely on fire with the market and other times I'm not. 6 weeks ago when everybody was long in altcoins, I didn't want to. I didn't want to. It's not because, oh, you missed the boat, bro. No, I probably made more in the last cycle in 2 weeks than people made in the last 6 weeks. All right. When it's time to become aggressive, I'll be aggressive. And you guys will all know about it. I don't feel any sort of sense of desperation to get clout. I've made my money from this space, and inshallah we'll make more money from it. But it doesn't matter how good you get at this game. Every single week, there's a new case that's being built, and every single week, there's some new range to play, or some new calamity, or some new issue that changes the way that we look at crypto. And that's the frustrating thing. Do me a favor, by the way. It is a real shame today. It's a massive shame, but this is the lowest turnout we've ever had on the show in terms of numbers. So big up to those of you who have tuned in. I have no idea why it's such a low turnout today. It could be YouTube, it could be Twitter. I'm not sure what the problem is, but do me a favor and smash a like on the video anyway. Usually we want to try and get to 100 likes. I'll be surprised if we get to 30 today. I'd be surprised. But it is what it is. We're here. We'll keep going. We'll keep doing our thing. And when the numbers come back, the numbers will come back. All right. That's okay. I do appreciate everybody here tuning in. I just thought I'd be vocal about it because it's weird. Usually we get a lot more people like this, a lot more people. Now, anyway, just to wrap it up, just to quickly go over what we've been talking about. So if we look at Bitcoin one more time, again, like I said, we are at key support. For me, we are at key support. At the same time, we do have the CME gap fill, all right, that people are looking for. So maybe we get that. Maybe we get a little bit lower into the mean reversion right here. It's difficult. I would like to see more of a push up. If we get a push up into, I don't know, 22 something K, then maybe 22,500, maybe as far as 23, that would be the best R&R to test your shorts. Okay? Because look, you can't 100% get it right. You can't just take a trade and say, I've got the perfect technicals, I'm going to short. You have to wait for the market to give you that signal first. And when it gives you that signal, when it gives you that opportunity, you've got your invalidation, you've got your trade, you take the trade, you're still likely to get stopped out. Like the market can do whatever it wants. You're taking the trade based off an idea. At least you're not some hooligan just on your phone trying to scalp 30 pips without realizing what they're doing. You're not looking at TA, you're not looking at fundamentals, you're not looking at anything. You're just, you're just longing and shorting. So that's the issue. I would not short right here. I wouldn't short here, especially with the gap right below. We're at key support right now. Yes, we might go a little bit lower, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a big FU candle to the upside either. And in hindsight, no one will be able to explain that. Look at everybody today. There's so many people on Twitter right now posting their P&Ls. And it just feels like everybody caught it. But it's so weird because last week, everybody was talking about altcoins. And this week, everybody managed to catch that short. It doesn't make sense to me. I find it weird when I see these Bybit posts of P&Ls and it's always green. I very rarely see a red one. And some people try and be sneaky as well. They'll post 10 green ones and then they'll post one where they've entered the trade where they're like 1% down or something. And then they post that and they say, yeah, I'm a little bit drawdown right now, but yeah, just a little bit of drawdown right now. That's all it is. But we'll see what we do. It's just weird. That's not how trading is. I know traders, and traders I know get stopped out a lot and they make a lot of money, but they get stopped out lots. They, you know what I mean? Their strike rate isn't, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Oh no, Trader Main is amazing. Trader Main is one of those people I'm talking about with that make a lot of money. All right. Trader Main is one of those guys. He's awesome, but he puts the work in. He puts hours in, he really studies the market really well. But there are other people like, not to mention any names, but like even the NFT girls, you see loads of NFT girls that appear on Twitter now. They're always on my feed. I don't follow them. They just appear on my feed non-stop. And they always seem to be winning. Anyway, so look, we'll move on. So that's Bitcoin. For the dollar as well, I did say, look, the dollar is looking to push up. We are at resistance on my macro chart. But when we look at the other chart on the lower time frame, the dollar here, it's interesting for me to see here what the dollar does. Okay, on this lower time frame, I've got reasons to see this dollar push up. At the same time, I would love to say no. I'd love to say that we get maybe excuse me, maybe something like this, all right? Maybe something like this. I don't see this happening, but if we was to get something like this, push down into here and then come back to the mid range, that would be one trade in itself, and then maybe a break of the mid range there, and then you've got your break in market structure pattern as well. Hopefully, for those of you guys who understand. All right. So that's what I would like to see going into the next week. But right now, it looks like it wants to go up now. Okay, so I don't know. I wouldn't be touching FX. I wouldn't be touching the S&P. It's difficult to touch Bitcoin right now. At the moment, it seems like the alts are the ones that are looking promising to some degree. That said, finally, just a final recap. If we look here as well, I don't know, man. It's looking like a breakdown to me. It's looking like it wants to start breaking down. If we get something like this, guys, I'm not gonna lie, man. If we get something like this, that is going to destroy altcoins. It's going to destroy altcoins. And on top of that, if we start going for lower prices as well, this is really where the liquidity is resting at the bottom here. If we start going for lower prices, like this will end up looking like a sell-off model, wouldn't it? You know, market maker sell-off model. All right. Maybe swing fail this, or maybe it will be time for us to actually see just a little bit lower. Okay. That would be the issue. So yeah. And yet Derry's saying the FX pairs next week would be prime. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait for SC to give me a shout. He's been nailing it. He's been nailing it like crazy. But I'm not gonna lie. I'm when I'm feeling like this, I've got to step back. And it's good for you guys to see me like this as well. I'm not fully in sync with the market. And it doesn't matter what lines you're drawing, and it doesn't matter what you're looking at. It has to make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, it's not gonna work. You know? So that's where we are. Let's have a quick look at what kind of news we're getting at the moment. So look, we've had the AI narrative. We've now got a new narrative, which is the regulation narrative. Excuse me. So this is the first thing that we'll talk about, right? Which is regulation. Regulation is coming into crypto now. And as much as I think the next cycle is going to be bigger than the last one, we've got bits and pieces of news here that make me think, oh, this is going to be a bit more difficult in the next cycle to trade. Now, you know, in 2017, we had the concept of staking, right? Staking was a little bit like DeFi, if you think about it, where you can basically lock up your tokens or lock up a form of USDT and or ETH or whatever. And as long as you're leaving that as liquidity or using it to power the network or whatever, as a miner or something, you'll get rewarded in tokens, all right? Your staked tokens. Now, Coinbase CEO cites rumors that the SEC may ban crypto staking for retail customers. Now, he says, I hope that's not the case, as I believe it would be a terrible path for the US if that was allowed to happen. But it looks like this is something that's being taken quite seriously, because I'm seeing it everywhere else too. Now, one thing that we know is the SEC have been coming for different companies over the course of 2022. Not only is it the SEC, but if you think about it, we had a lot of collapses in 2022 where FTX pretty much went to zero. SBF still fighting bail at the moment. We had Luna, which went from 0 to 100 and then back to zero at the speed of light. We had Celsius, which went from a 10 billion market cap project to a 0 billion market cap project, bouncing up to 2 billion, where it was almost bought out by Goldman Sachs, or at least it was looking like an idea, and then back to zero. Okay, so now we're starting to see it with other major sort of entities in the space, where we're seeing that the SEC are coming for them too. And that's why you saw the headline in the title of the video, where I say, look, the SEC wants blood. And that's what seems to be happening. The SEC spent most of its time during the bull run focusing on XRP, which is why we didn't really see much of an XRP run, but we did see other altcoins go crazy. And now, the SEC are declining to comment. They're saying that, going down here, after a congressional hearing in September 2022, reporters While he wasn't referring to any token in particular, staking was another indicator that under the Howey test, I don't know what that is, the investing public is anticipating profits based on the efforts of others. So what they're saying is that staking is immoral, or staking should be illegal, or staking is not something that it should be allowed in the world. Now, it says here, staking tends to get misconstrued with unrelated activities like lending, but staking is fundamentally a way for anyone to join in providing security for proof of stake networks. And I agree with that. I think staking is a big deal. I think staking should stay. And I think it will be big in the next cycle. Why? Because of DeFi. DeFi took staking to a completely different level. I was going to say completely and pretty, but I put them together. Completely different level. If you think about DeFi, how much people made money off YFI and YFI 2 and all these YAM tokens and whatnot, ham and cheese and this and that. Everybody made tons of money off that, simply because it wasn't due to the name of the project or the picture of the project. It was the fact that you could lock your money up, and the earlier you lock your money up, the more rewards you're going to get. We had it in 2017 with lending platforms. We had it in 2021 with DeFi platforms. And in a way, it's a version of staking. Now, other companies, other protocols, like say, for instance, if you've got like a layer one, like Polkadot, you can lock your tokens up and you can stake your tokens to get more Polkadot tokens. That's a bit more regressive in the sense of what they're trying to achieve. It's not quite DeFi. I definitely think if you're going to put regulation out there, put it towards DeFi and not towards, tier one blue chip tokens that are staking to actually help power their network. That's what I think anyway. But, it's not just Coinbase that have been affected by this. It's also Kraken. Now, a lot of people don't know, but Kraken is one of the hugest exchanges that we had in crypto. It's one of the first ones that really sort of surfaced for crypto, and it's crazy when I'm seeing now the Kraken crypto exchange will cease offering staking services to US customers to settle charges by the US that its investment program should have been registered under securities law. And this is what's happening. The SEC, their ultimate aim seems to be to push cryptocurrencies towards being called or labeled as securities, and that will really destroy the space. If that happens, it's going to really mess things up, because there are many countries. Crypto is a beautiful thing, right? We can make a lot of money from crypto. So whoopsie. We can make a lot of money from crypto, especially when you're investing early, especially when you're investing in the right narratives. A lot of money can be made, more money than when you go to work, or more money than when you do your 9 to 5, or when you're doing even if you're doing sort of freelancing or contracting, or you're something like that. You're still not going to make anywhere near as much as you can in crypto if you catch crypto at the right time. All right, you don't actually need to be a genius. You just need to be in the right place at the right time, and you need to put the legwork in. If you do, then it's really easy to make money in the crypto space. But if you think about it, different countries around the world have caused us problems because of that. The UK charges 50-60% on tax. The US charges an enormous amount on tax. Not only does it charge an enormous amount on tax, but in the US, you can't get involved in pre-sales, and you can't get involved in IDOs and ICOs, and you have no opportunities to invest that early in the US, as far as I'm aware. Further to that, if they start labeling these as securities, the tax is going to change significantly on trading crypto. Tax may go from 30-40% to 50-60%, and suddenly it becomes the same as work. The tax system isn't good. I know a lot of people are fleeing anyway to try and go to countries like Portugal, Dubai, Germany, places that are friendly towards crypto and crypto tax. But at the same time, if they label these securities, I don't know what that's going to mean in those other countries too. As much of a safe haven Dubai is right now, as much as the crime rates are low, as much as it's a beautiful place to live, I don't actually know if they label all of these securities, and what's that going to mean going forward for countries like that. Essentially, their objective is to try and take this money back. They don't like the fact that there's a new financial system being put into the matrix. And I know that sounds a bit cliche, but just bear with me. They don't like the fact that there's a new financial sort of system within the matrix that they don't have complete control over. They can buy as much Bitcoin as they want every year to try and increase their reserves so that they have a control over the market itself. But they can't all these new tokens that are launching, all these projects that are launching, the things that they're doing to enhance decentralization, that they're against that. Their actions prove that they're against that. They don't like it. They're claiming that they want to make it more friendly. They're claiming that they want to add their crypto to their own reserves and stuff, but in my opinion, they really, really are against it. All right, so keep that in mind. Kraken acknowledged the settlement in a blog post and specified that it would not affect users in other countries. Now, that's for now. To me, it looks like Kraken bent over just to please the SEC, because they didn't want any more problems. Okay. Kraken Crypto Exchange will cease offering to staking services to US customers to settle charges by the US that the investment program should have been registered under securities law. So, moving forward, we've got here cryptocurrency as securities will kill the industry in Israel. Now, we're not going to go into politics as to how you feel about different countries, or it's not my place here. I'm not a geopolitical expert or anything like that, but just ignoring the country itself. But cryptocurrency as securities will kill the industry in any country. It will change the laws and how this is traded in a different country, and that's where it starts to become scary for us, because we all want Bitcoin to go to $1 million, and we want altcoins to give us 1,000x, or maybe we want altcoins to financially free us. But there's no point if the tax man comes and takes all of that money. It doesn't make any sense. In the UK especially, crime is going up. There's potholes all over the street. The NHS is destroyed. In the UK, things are so bad over here. They're horrible. Not as bad as third world countries like Syria and stuff like that. I'm not comparing it to that, but for the taxman to come and take all of it, and then you don't see crime get better, you don't see your money being spent in any way, shape, or form, you don't see the police really helping out in any way, shape, or form because they're apparently understaffed. It doesn't make any sense to me. All right, labeling these as securities just seems like a better way for the rich to stay rich, not get richer, but stay rich, and the poor to remain poor. It's a really, really disgusting situation, to be honest. Disgusting is the right word. So in early January 2023, so this is last month, Israeli securities authority said that it would create a new legal structure for cryptocurrencies. That's not very bullish. Why would you say that during the bear market? Notably, the country's legislation will be changed to include cryptocurrency and digital assets within the current securities law. According to the proposal, most cryptocurrencies may fall under financial assets under the ISA's watch. So again, imagine you've got maybe Luna's a bad example. For some reason I keep thinking of Luna today, but let's say for instance you bought Luna at 30 cents and Luna was sitting at $120. They want to, if you've got your Luna on a ledger, or if you've got it onto your MetaMask, then as long as your seed phrase sits here, or it sits somewhere where nobody but you can reach it, then it's going to be very difficult for somebody to come and say, give me your money, or I'm freezing your account, or I'm freezing your wallet, or whatever. It's going to be difficult to do that. That's the whole point of crypto. If you've got it on a ledger and you stick your ledger up your bum and you're walking to different countries with your ledger up your bum, then you've got your money with you. All right. It's not like having money in a bank account where the bank can just call you up one day and say, hey, we've frozen your account and we're keeping hold of all your assets until X, Y, and Z. That's what the monetary system can do. All right. But Israel want to make it like that. That's what they're saying. They want to be able to control these crypto assets the same way that they can control, centralized assets like your money. Okay, so this is something to be really concerned about. It is, if this news keeps pushing out across the board, then I can expect cryptocurrency to dump a little bit more. I can expect Bitcoin to see lower prices. Maybe we see the dollar soar. We did get a rate hike recently as well, so that's another indication for higher prices on the dollar. We've got CPI coming in 4 days, which we will cover. We will cover CPI, but no one's really talking about it. But what if inflation comes in higher? this month, then what? Yeah, we're on a trajectory to go lower. We are in a recession and stuff, agreed. But what if inflation comes in higher, you know? So that's something to take into consideration. I don't think the market will respond very kindly to that if it did. Moving on, stablecoin issuer Paxos is being investigated by New York regulator. So again, now we've got stablecoins being pushed by New York as well. Again, it's the US. I don't know if you've noticed, but US, Israel, Israel, US. You're seeing the same names. You know, all the powerful families that own money, that own the treasuries. You know, and they support Israel as well. It's not very difficult to like connect the dots, but they're the ones that are trying to repress freedom. If crypto is, you know, if crypto is meant to free you, then it's kind of ironic that it's the US and Israel that are trying to repress that freedom. Wonder where we've seen that before. But anyway, the New York Department of Financial Services is investigating stablecoin issuer Paxos, CoinDesk has learned. All right. The full scope of the investigation is unclear because it's bullshit. Paxos stablecoin includes the Pax dollar USDP and BUSD, a Binance branded stablecoin offered through a white label service. All right. There's not really much to say on this other than that you guys should just be aware that they're trying to clamp down on us. They're trying very, very hard to clamp down on us. And we've got to fight back. You know, we've got to fight back. And this one hurts me the most. This is the last one for the day before I shoot off for Friday. This one hurts. You know, Bitcoin exchange, LocalBitcoins to shut down, citing market conditions. LocalBitcoins has announced that the exchange will be closed for service by the end of February. The longtime Bitcoin trading service was the first P2P transaction platform for many Bitcoiners, including NJ, launched in June 2012, and the exchange is one of the oldest entities in Bitcoin, establishing itself as a primary P2P player in its heyday with over $1 million in weekly trading volume. It is what it is. It is what it is. We are growing. Look, listen, we're growing, all right? One thing I will tell you guys before I wrap the stream up is don't be too what's the word I'm looking for? Obsessed. Don't be too obsessed with the altcoins that we have on the market right now. In the next cycle, Polkadot might be a dinosaur coin. Solana might be a dinosaur coin. Nobody really saw AI coming. Everybody longed the breakout, but nobody saw AI coming. All right. Longing the breakout is different to actually having a real bull market where you're just buying whatever and everything goes up. All right. In the next cycle, it's not about the tokens that come that evolve crypto, but it will be more so that we will be in a proper risk on environment where everything's going to go up anyway. And it will be the new tokens, the new shiny ones that are sucking in liquidity. So if you see anybody talking about, buying now for the prospects of the future, then, I'm not really convinced at the moment. The market hasn't given me any reason to believe that cash isn't king. It's, in fact, the market is giving you the opposite reason. Over the last 4 to 6 weeks, everybody's been saying bear market rally, and it is a bear market rally. Then we're at resistance. Who wants to buy now for something that we don't know is going to happen in the next year and a half? So if you do see that hovering around, just remember, like, that person most likely, or those people or whoever, is most likely not really looking into the facts. Having a rate hike the other day with the dollar pushing up, Bitcoin in a bear market rally, yeah, Bitcoin can go to 25 to 28k, but that doesn't mean we're bullish. That means that we can go to 25 to 28k. In another way of looking at that, it's people talking about shorting the market. So yeah, so that's it from me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. Hopefully it was good. I'll see you again on Monday or Tuesday or something like that. Thanks again for everybody who did tune in. I really do appreciate you. We're 2 likes away off 30. We're not going to get the 100 that I'm looking for, but if you are watching this recorded, do feel free to smash a like on the video and hit a comment in the comment section as well to help the algorithms push this video around or whatever it is. And if you're new to the show, which I doubt you are, subscribe to the show, please and thank you. First link in the description below is the Telegram channel. It's for free as well. All right. Cheers, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Maybe we'll stream on the weekend. I'm very doubtful, but maybe we will. I'll come live if anything crazy happens or if the demand is there, right? But have a nice weekend. Have a lovely Friday. Friday afternoon. Have a lovely Friday evening with your families. I'll catch you for the next episode of the NJ Show soon. All right. Cheers.